you fine wrestling fans, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Wrestling with My Sanity. And today we are coming off another episode of Monday Night Raw, the big Monday Night Raw with the steel cage match between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. We will be talking about that, what went down there, and what we kind of have brewing going into WrestleMania this season, guys. So to kick off the show, we're not going to spend a ton of time on the rest of this stuff. I very much was of the opinion that outside of the main event and the Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair segment, this didn't really feel as big of an episode as I thought it should have been in Madison Square Garden, guys. A lot of the matches we got were kind of whatever. I mean, granted, we didn't get a ton. We got Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller. We got what was it, the LWO versus the New Day. We got in a tornado tag match. We got a one-on-one match between Raquel Rodriguez and Bailey, and then of course our main event between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. So not a ton of action tonight. Only 4 total matches there. We had a couple backstage segments and some promos in the ring that were fine, but compared to the last 3-4 weeks in particular, I kind of did think this was a bit of a weaker show overall. But we will get right into it here, guys. The very first thing you see is Jey Uso coming through the crowd, as per usual. Um, I know they changed this over the last couple weeks. I'm kind of getting tired of kicking off Raw with Jey Uso every week. I mean, it already feels to me like the Jey Uso and Gunther feud is kind of getting boring, to be honest with everybody. I mean, Gunther keeps coming out and doing the same thing. Granted, he did say that he was going to make Jay's life a living hell. This is part of the reason, guys. As much as I like Jey Uso, I didn't want Jay to win the Royal Rumble, and I still think it was the wrong decision. I mean, it'll be a cool moment at WrestleMania, and then what? He's going to have the title for a month and then lose it to somebody else that deserves it more. I mean, I don't understand it, but they keep seeming to do the same thing time after time after time. Also, they keep hyping up all these freaking celebrities. Like I haven't even heard of half the people they were showing ringside today. The only I think I only knew one person out there, the comedian I had heard of before, but other than that, like we really need to stop leaning to all the celebrities, guys. Like you can show them and stuff, but having people like Travis Scott on TV that has absolutely no clue what the fuck he's doing, absolutely potatoes. Cody Rhodes gives him a black eye. It was reported that he ruptured his eardrum. I think that was confirmed to be false, but still, I mean, you saw Cody on SmackDown last week. We've seen him on Raw tonight. The dude absolutely blasted him in the face. So having fucking rappers that nobody gives a fuck about on WWE TV, we need to stop with that, Triple H. I mean, I get you're trying to have all the crossover appeal that you can, but you don't bring a fucking bum into your main event segment with The Rock and John Cena and Cody Rhodes like that and just have Travis Scott stand there like a dipshit and then fucking Potato, one of your best talents on the roster. We need to get rid of these dumbass rappers and these fucking guys and these angles. Like they don't belong. They don't have any part of what's going on whatsoever. So why is he there? But that's my little rant to open up the show for you guys. Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller we had here. As to be expected, this match was fine. Jey Uso, not great in the ring. Waller's fine in the ring. He's just not very over, and him in theory haven't been used that much. Although, the only interesting thing coming out of this, besides obviously Jey Uso getting the win here, he wasn't going to drop a loss to Grayson Waller on the road to WrestleMania when he faces Gunther. But the only interesting thing in this storyline to me is that Austin Theory is still kind of teasing babyface a little bit. I know he was like a couple weeks back, he was doing the whole Jey Uso yeet thing, and then Grayson Waller caught him, and you can tell he's kind of on the brink of breaking up with Grayson Waller. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because that's been one of the few people on the roster, I should say, where he was booked very well under Vince, and he was kind of had the proverbial rocket strapped to his back and was pushed to the moon. And I do still think Austin Theory has a lot of good potential. And I still think, I mean, he's young, so it's not like we have to push him right this second, but I would like to see them start to do some different stuff with him, because he's kind of been on the shelf as far as not doing much for the last year and a half since Triple H really took over. And after this, Jey Uso did get the win, as to be expected here, guys. After this, we had Logan Paul come out. He kind of BS'd with the one comedian at ringside for a bit. And he's like, "This isn't Cleveland, buddy. This is New York City. This is a real city." Fuck that guy. Fucking Cleveland's better than New York. New York's an absolute shithole. So I'm not just saying that because I'm from here. Fucking, I don't understand the hype around this is again me going on another rant. I don't understand the hype around two of the bigger cities in America and Los Angeles and New York in the way everybody hypes them up. Those two cities are absolute shitholes. LA specifically. New York's just as bad, but LA is disgusting, guys. The people there are fucking rude as shit. Fucking the city's disgusting. There's fucking smog everywhere. You can barely breathe anywhere you walk. Wherever you go, it's absolutely packed and just people are obnoxious. They have no fucking kind words to say about anybody there, it feels like. And New York is kind of the same way. New York's just a bunch of stuck up fucking Midwestern fucking hillbillies, basically. Um, but anyways, getting my rant out of that. I just hate how people take shots at Cleveland for no fucking reason, like this fucking bum ass comedian that nobody cares about, and he's fucking, Cleveland isn't a real city. They're not going to cheer you here like they do in Cleveland. First of all, you clearly don't watch the shows, dipshit, because nobody fucking cheers him in Cleveland. We boo him louder in Cleveland than you do in New York. So what does that say about your dumbass New York crowds? So fuck that comedian. Fuck Logan Paul. I don't give a fuck about this segment. This was whatever. I'm kind of pissed, to be honest, that AJ Styles gets stuck with Logan Paul as his WrestleMania match, but he's done it a few times now. He had the inevitable Shane McMahon match that ended up being pretty good because Shane is willing to risk himself in the ring. And he seems to get the short end of the stick a lot of times in WrestleMania moments. He has not really had a ton of big ones outside of the Boneyard match. Retiring Undertaker was his biggest by far. But once again, I don't love we're sticking a big guy, in my opinion, one of your better guys on the roster, is certainly one of your best wrestlers, period, in the world still, in AJ Styles with a guy like Logan Paul, where it's like, again, Logan Paul, I think, is very good. I think he's honestly a pretty damn good promo, and he's impressive in the ring. But at the same time, that's not what matters, guys. Like, I don't think people are booing Logan Paul because he's a good heel. I think we're booing Logan Paul because nobody wants to fucking see him. In Cleveland, we boo the shit out of him. We boo him louder than fucking damn near any place in the U.S. So we don't want to see Logan Paul in our wrestling show. He's just not interesting. I mean, unless you're a 15 to 20-year-old girl, even younger than that probably. If you're a 13 to 20, 22-year-old girl, nobody cares about Logan Paul. And the general population of WWE fans is mostly wrestling in general is mostly made up of male fans anyway. There is plenty of female fans, but I think a lot of female fans I know don't like Logan Paul. So why are we pushing him like this? Again, a celebrity that was a shitty YouTuber that has had some horrible boxing matches. We signed to a contract and we're just throwing him in there with one of the all-time greats in AJ Styles. I mean, just doesn't sit right with me. Get Logan Paul the fuck out of here. Nobody wants to see him. I rarely see any praise from anybody about Logan Paul. I think the pop he had in his first couple matches where he was really good in the tag team match he had with Miz a couple years ago. Then he had the good showing in the good moment with Ricochet in the Royal Rumble where they both did the crossbodies. But outside of that, guys, I mean, I don't even remember him really in the Elimination Chamber this year. Like, he's just not doing anything anymore. The the pop that he had is already worn off. And again, we're not booing him because he's a good heel. We're booing him because he's fucking boring. We don't fucking want him on our TV. He comes out, he says the same fucking thing every week. He basically just gets the cheap pop. When he was overseas in Toronto, he had the American flag. Whatever city he goes to, he just shits on their sports team. I mean, it's literally just the cheapest of pops. And again, nobody's booing Logan Paul because he's a good heel. He's not Dominic Mysterio. We're booing him because the guy fucking sucks and he's boring. We don't want to see him. So enough with this Logan Paul BS. We are clearly setting up AJ Styles versus Logan Paul for WrestleMania. Couldn't give a damn less. That's going to be a bathroom break match for me for sure, guys, with a potential 13, 14 matches between the two nights of WrestleMania. That's one of the very few matches that I could give a fuck less what happens. I hope AJ Styles crushes him, but the way Triple H, for whatever reason, seems to like to book Logan Paul will probably win this somehow. After this, we had a match between the New Day and the LWO. And sorry if I sound like I'm coming off as pissed, guys, but just some of the stuff they do. I'm a huge WWE fan, and I will always support them. But some of the stuff they do, even though I think Triple H overall has done a damn good job, especially with the Elimination Chamber, I think he knocked it out of the fucking park. I think WrestleMania will be very good, but I can still criticize things I don't fully agree with. And I understand when you're booking a show, you have to book for everyone. No one person is going to love every match on the show, guys. It's just the way it is. Some people, I have a good buddy that still to this day, for whatever reason, does not love female wrestling. He doesn't want to see any damn female matches on the card. And I couldn't agree with him or disagree with him more on that. I love female wrestling. That's a big reason why I got back into the WWE after WrestleMania, I want to say 34, was the female talent, guys. I was a huge Sasha Banks fan. I loved basically all the four horsewomen, still do. Huge Alexa Bliss fan. I was with Liv Morgan from the Riot Squad days. I love right now. I love some of the up and coming talent with Roxanne Perez. I'm a huge Lyra Valkyria fan. Chelsea Green's been killing it on SmackDown. Obviously Bianca Belair, Naomi, Jade Cargill's been some good stuff. The segment just last week on SmackDown with Naomi and Bianca was killer. Just the promo segment they had, so all of that was great. And a lot of the stuff, honestly, like I look forward to the women's matches a lot of times more than I do the men's stuff. And you heard me come on here when I gave my Elimination Chamber predictions. I predicted that the women's chamber would be a better overall match than the men's. And it was once again. The women seem to show out whenever they're given an opportunity to have a match alongside the men, whether it's their chamber match, the Royal Rumble match. The women always seem to try to go above and beyond and updo the men, which I really appreciate. So killer fan there. As I was just saying, I don't know. I kind of got off track there for a second, but yeah, when you're booking a show, you got to book for everybody. There's going to be women's matches because people like me and other people love them. My one friend doesn't. That's fine. He doesn't have to care about that. Some people don't like giants, like people like Omos. You have your people like Braun Strowman. I'm kind of in that camp where I don't really care for these big guys that can't really work. Yes, they're physical specimens, but I think in 2025 we're past the point of needing a guy like Andre the Giant cosplay guy out here that clearly isn't as good as Andre the Giant. They're just throwing him out there because he's big, he can't cut a promo, and he's just out there to be a force, basically. So when you're booking a show, you got to take all this into consideration. And I understand that's why I'm trying not to be super critical all the time. There's always going to be stuff on every show that I don't like for the most part. But the pay per views, it's easier to kind of centralize some of that because typically he's only been running 4 matches on most of these shows outside of a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam where he gives us maybe 6, 7. But it is hard to book for everybody. Again, but some of the stuff on this show, for it being Madison Square Garden and them hyping up the main event, if they did not have the main event, this did very much feel like a very forgettable episode of Monday Night Raw to me. But the main event was great, so we'll get to that here soon. New Day defeated the LWO again. This feels like a match we've seen on Raw like 70 times. So New Day as heels aren't really doing it for me anymore, to be honest. The LWO has been cold as ice for months now, so I don't really care about that either. But we did get let's see, who the heck won this? I think New Day won this. Yeah, New Day won this, and then we got the masked luchador came out and took out some of the people. And Pat McAfee was like, "Yeah, I don't know who it is." And Michael Cole's hyping up, "It's clearly Chad Gable." Blah blah blah. And then a little bit later, we get backstage, Kathy Kelly interviewing Chad Gable, and he talked about how it wasn't him. And she's like, "Stop lying, Chad. Everybody knows it was you." And then some dude walks by, being detained by the security that has the mask on. So I clearly still think it was Chad Gable, everybody, but I think this was pretty funny. Just the little segment of him being like, "Hey, it really wasn't me. Did you see that? Guy's there with the luchador mask on. See, I told you it wasn't me." So that was funny. But we did get the return of Chad Gable to this week, which was pretty cool. And after this was one of the better segments of the night here, guys. We did get Cody Rhodes calling out John Cena and The Rock, and we got a little bit of shades of 2011. We got a John Cena sucks, let's go Cena chant going on, which was interesting. Cody Rhodes kind of played into that a little bit, and he he did say, I'm trying to remember what he said now. At the end, obviously, he ended with the whole "I'm the captain now" thing. John, we don't need you anymore. He's like, "You've been on the bench for a long time." He's like, "Listen, I'm the world champion." And he talked on SmackDown about how John Cena told him that the title gets heavier and heavier every week. And he said, "It's never been lighter. I'm holding this above my head. I'm the captain now." And just basically throwing a little more shade at John Cena and playing into this angle. I do think we really need to get Cena in here, guys. I mean, I hope he's back every week for the most part after this. I mean, I know he's not going to be there every single week on every single show, but I hope he's there for 95% of the Monday Night Raws after this because we need some good build to WrestleMania here. And to be honest, the retirement tour, we're we're 3 months into the retirement tour, has been absolute dog shit so far. I mean, he lost the Royal Rumble and he won the Chamber, which was a better showing. But outside of that, he's barely talked at all. He had the one press conference, and we really need to start getting the tires kicked here on doing some stuff with John Cena because everybody's kind of waiting, myself included, with bated breath for what he's going to say. What's his new entrance music going to be? What is his reasoning for turning on Cody Rhodes and allying with The Rock? So we will get all those answers this Monday on Raw. But overall, a pretty good promo here from Cody. Not his best, not his worst, but there's only so much you can do if you're Cody Rhodes and the damn guy you're feuding with's not even back on the fucking show yet. So get Cena back. Cena, stop filming your shitty movies. Come back. Put your full effort into this. People like myself paid for a ticket to Monday Night Raw in Cleveland last month thinking you were going to be there, and you didn't even fucking show. So get your ass back on TV, John Cena. That's my opinion on that. After this, we got a Raquel Rodriguez defeating Bayley, which I think was the best match of the night besides the main event. The main event blew everything away, but this was the second best match of the night, in my opinion. Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio were there. This match was for a number one contender spot for Lyra Valkyria's Women's Intercontinental Championship. They had a pretty good back and forth here, and with Liv and Dominic on the outside, they both did a little double team distraction on Bayley at the very end, which allowed Raquel Rodriguez to pick up the victory. Bayley slid back in. Raquel hit her with a big boot, and then she hit her with her finish for the 1-2-3. So I think the right decision was made there. If you put Bayley, a beloved character, everybody's loved Bayley for years in WWE. So if you put Bayley, a babyface, against Lyra Valkyria, who is a babyface that you're trying to build, I'm afraid that more people would cheer Bayley than Lyra because she's getting a louder reaction than her right now. And Triple H knows that, so he made the right decision there. Give her Raquel Rodriguez, and we'll see what Lyra Valkyria can do against Raquel. I hope she retains. I honestly, with how little and how poorly he's booked Lyra Valkyria so far, I wouldn't be surprised if he gave it to Raquel just to have more gold on the Judgment Day. But I really hope we keep this going with Lyra Valkyria. I'm still holding out a sliver of hope here, everybody, that we do get Becky Lynch back within the next 2 weeks or so to build a little bit before WrestleMania. Or maybe it's a John Cena thing where it's like John Cena's calling out The Undertaker, and at WrestleMania she shows up to challenge Lyra Valkyria, because I think Becky Lynch versus Lyra would be fucking awesome. And I hope that is still the direction for Mania, but we will see as we have an upcoming match between Raquel Rodriguez and Lyra for the Intercontinental Championship at some point here. And this next segment here between Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky was my favorite promo segment of the night. You had Bailey, or no, it was, who was out there first? Oh, it was Michael Cole interviewing Io Sky, and this part of it was okay, guys. It's hard when you're like Io Sky or Shinsuke and some of these people that English is not their first native language. The promo here was very, very weak. It was very awkward at times. I kind of felt a little secondhand embarrassment for Io because all she really knew how to say was, "Thank you so much. I'm going to WrestleMania," all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, God, like, we need to get some people in there that help these women and men, like an Asuka, like an Io Sky, like a Shinsuke Nakamura, because these people have some great fucking talent. Julia, even Stephanie Vaquer, who's learning English now. These people are some of your most talented people on the roster, and either we need to get them managers. We need more people like Paul Heyman and good managers, good orators on the mic that can help these women and guys out, or we need to be really putting more effort and time into helping them talk on the microphone, because I think some of these people should be pushed even more prominently than they are. I know Julia is a champion and Stephanie Vaquer is in NXT, but on the main roster especially, I always felt like Asuka was kind of undermined a bit because she couldn't talk on the microphone. Io is great in the ring, and I know Triple H loves Io, but it's like, man, she can't cut a fucking promo, and we need to help her out. Whether that's giving her a manager, whether that's bringing somebody in that can really fucking help her nail down these promos, but we need something because there's too much talent there to have her come out and not be able to fucking say anything. I mean, she basically just said, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. Like, she didn't even say anything the whole time. And again, I kind of felt a little secondhand embarrassment for her because after that, he announced Bianca Belair. Bianca came out, congratulated her, but said she looks forward to facing her at WrestleMania. And then as Bianca is talking, Rhea Ripley's music hits. Rhea comes down, and this is when Rhea and Bianca get into it a bit. And at one point, Rhea kind of mush faces Io out of the way. And then After that, Bianca pipes up a little bit louder and starts getting into Rhea's face, and then Bianca pushes Io back, and then eventually Io just separates the both of them and slaps the piss out of Rhea Ripley, which had me rolling. I thought that was great. And then right after that, she pushes Bianca back a bit and just rears back and slaps the hell out of Bianca Belair too. So that was good. I like that we did that. If they did that whole angle and it just ended with the two of them going face to face and Io didn't retaliate at all, I would have been pissed because definitely doing that to the world heavyweight champion is disrespectful. But Io stood up for herself. She stood her ground and slapped the absolute dog crap out of Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, which was very funny to see. Very good segment overall. Bianca, especially lately, I've always thought Rhea's been really good on the mic, and Bianca is a good orator on the mic as well. But recently, Bianca's promos have been damn good. I don't know if she's been working with Paul Heyman backstage or something, but last week on SmackDown, especially, the segment and the emotion she had to show and the whole Jade Cargill Naomi segment was freaking fantastic. And this too, I mean, just the back and forth with Rhea, both of them were really good. They both got angry, they both showed emotion. And the slaps, I mean, both of them sold those slaps like they got hit with a damn 12 gauge shotgun shot. So great job by all three women here. And we are clearly setting up the triple threat between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. As I said earlier, it would be I wasn't the biggest fan of Rhea dropping the belt, but they can win me over with this. I like Io Sky a lot, and they're not leaving Rhea Ripley off the card, guys. She is the main attraction of the women's division. As you saw in the segment tonight, she got a bigger pop than Bianca Belair, and she got a bigger pop than Io Sky. So you're not going to leave that woman off of your WrestleMania card. So very much looking forward to this triple threat here. And after this, we were to the main event, guys. We got Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. They showed both guys kind of walking up to the gorilla position. Then Seth Rollins came out first with his wacky outfits, as of course. And then CM Punk came out last to the biggest pop of the night by far. And this match was damn good. The only thing I can say to detract from this match even a little bit was the amount of false finishes. I did think we did about one, I wouldn't say two. I think we did one too many GTSs with CM Punk. You kind of undermine his finish a little bit there when you hit Seth Rollins with three GTSs and he kicks out of every single one of them. I mean, I get it on a show like WrestleMania or something, but you can't have a guy kicking out of that many GTSs. He kicked out of a curb stomp. He kicked out of everything. So that was my only little thing where it's like, okay, like I kind of gravitated away from watching AEW for that same reason. Guys were hitting fucking Canadian destroyers and they were hitting finishing moves back to back to back and they were kicking out of everything. Guys like Orange Cassidy that weigh as much as my left leg were kicking out of shit like that, which is ridiculous. So, but other than that, a very good back and forth here. I think Michael Cole did a very good job. One thing I did notice with Pat McAfee, he doesn't seem to be on his game this run nearly as much as he was last time, guys. I'm a big Pat McAfee guy, but his commentary, I don't know if they told him to tone it down or what, but he just doesn't seem to be himself as of lately. And his commentary really hasn't been adding much to the show. Like at this point, I wouldn't mind. Like I'm not going to be nearly as upset when he goes back to College Game Day and they bring Corey Graves or whoever up to the main roster to fill in his shoes because one, I don't love, like I said, the work Pat McAfee's been doing lately. I don't think he's been adding too much to the commentary team there. And two, I don't like that they're both babyface announcers. I like having the dynamic of a JBL on commentary with a babyface and Michael Cole, or the Jerry Lawler who was a heel and JR um was the babyface. Like I like the heel face dynamic in the commentary booth and having two faces. Just there's not enough yin and yang there right now, in my opinion. But overall, there was a lot going on here, guys. CM Punk hit Seth Rollins with the step up knee a couple times. The second one was pretty awesome because Seth Rollins had his stomach to the cage and he hit him in the back of the head and he kind of thumped off the cage and flew forward there. There was a big spot in the middle of the match where Seth Rollins hits a crazy superplex from the very top on CM Punk. But going back to the good job Michael Cole did, I thought he did a great job of explaining why at the beginning the cage door opens and Seth Rollins is kind of teasing Punk going, you want to go, you want to get out, you want to leave? And um, Michael Cole was like, yeah, listen, he's like, for these two guys, the rivalry they have, they hate each other. Seth Rollins said he wants CM Punk to die. This isn't about leaving the cage and getting out unscathed. This is about one of the two guys putting the other one out of action, possibly ending their career forever. So this is about getting their pound of flesh. This isn't about getting out, escaping from the cage. They want to do harm to each other, and they did that. I liked how they, at the end of the match, they did the same thing with CM Punk, where CM Punk opened the cage door and kind of taunted Rollins the same way that he did to him earlier in the match. And this was, again, just you could tell CM Punk had his hands all over this, putting this match together. CM Punk just, he knows what he's doing. He's a very old school traditional fan of wrestling, which I am as well. And the way this match was put together between these two, I mean, I could watch CM Punk face Seth Rollins damn near every week on Raw, and I would never get tired of it, just because these guys are masters of their craft. This was a 5-star match, in my opinion. They tore the absolute house down. I thought the ending was great, where Seth Rollins had, I think he hit the GTS and then he hit the curb stomp again, and then he was kind of sitting in the corner, laying against the in the bottom left corner where the door is, and they filmed this very well. Where you see Seth Rollins' reaction, and all of a sudden you see two arms come forward and yank Seth Rollins out of the cage, giving Seth Rollins the win. Brilliant finish, in my opinion. This very much felt like a Pat Patterson finish, and it kind of put a smile on my face, just being like, yeah, man, like it felt like Pat Patterson was looking down and kind of was like speaking to Triple H, being like, hey, go with this finish. It gives Seth Rollins the win, which he desperately needs, because Seth Rollins kind of been the punching bag as of lately. Granted, he didn't get the win fully on his own. Roman helped him out, but still, I thought Seth Rollins should have been the winner here. Punk already beat Rollins once, so I'm sure he might get the match at WrestleMania, but we shall see. But Roman Reigns tore the absolute crap out of Seth Rollins, and then he wanted to go for the stomp after he already hit a stomp. He wanted to hit Seth with the stomp on the steel steps like he did to him at the Royal Rumble, but Adam Pearce ran down with security, and then after this was very good. Roman Reigns turns around, looks in the ring, and he sees Paul Heyman kind of consoling and talking to CM Punk. He has him embraced. He has his arm wrapped around his head. And Roman Reigns looks up and he's like, oh, hell no. He's like, not my wise man. He's like, you're going to take my wise man? So he kind of gives him a little grin, walks in there. And then I thought he was going to go after Paul for a second, but he goes in, ragdolls Punk off of both sides of the steel cage, and then hits a big spear on him. And much to Paul Heyman's chagrin, he's kind of there like, oh shit, what have I done? And I don't know if this is part of the favor that CM Punk is calling upon Paul Heyman for, but we will see. I like that they actually added this layer between Punk and Roman Reigns, because coming out of the chamber, it very much was Seth Rollins is feuding with Roman and Seth Rollins is feuding with Punk. And we didn't have much in the way of friction between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And I think Paul Heyman just added the perfect amount of friction between those two to where a triple threat match at WrestleMania seems to be what we're getting. And I think it makes a lot more sense now, because you can call upon the Paul Heyman thing. And shit, maybe CM Punk steals Paul Heyman from Roman Reigns. I mean, when he started this years ago with Roman still wasn't the best on the microphone, but Roman can more than hold his own on the mic now. Obviously, CM Punk's still the best, like probably the best promo in the business right now, but Roman Reigns can hold his own, and the whole dynamic between the three of them, the love triangle between Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and CM Punk, adds a whole new dynamic to this feud. And I thought this was just chef's kiss, everybody. Absolute great main event, 5 out of 5 in my opinion. The Paul Heyman element always adds a ton to it. He did great with his selling and his facials here, and we seem to be getting two big main event triple threats with the women's match with Rhea, Io, and Bianca, which should be amazing, and the Roman, Punk, and Seth. I would have preferred singles matches, as again, I'm more of a traditional old school wrestling soul, so I do tend to like singles matches more. But in this case, you have three guys and three women that I absolutely love. And if you're going to do triple threat matches, make it absolute powerhouse competition you have in there. And I think both sets of women and men will tear the house down at WrestleMania. So very good stuff here, guys. I might hop on Friday, depending. Maybe The Rock shows up on Friday. You never know with him. He tends to pop up on SmackDown more than he does on Monday Night Raw these days, just because SmackDown was the show that he kind of helped create. And Cody Rhodes, I expect to hear more from him about the whole situation with The Rock and Cena on SmackDown. Maybe we get something interesting. If we don't, I probably will not hop on, and you will hear from me Monday for Raw. And then I might actually try to get my early predictions for WrestleMania out next week. We will see. I may have a guest on for that as well. We will see. One of my coworkers might be joining me for that episode, so look forward to that. But that is another episode of Monday Night Raw in the books, everybody. And let me know what you thought in the comments down below. If you haven't and you have been enjoying the content, as always, please like, subscribe, and share this video. And I will see you guys in the next one.